New at 5, the U.S. Air Force is moving forward with plans to build 7 more telescopes on Haleakalā. Opponents call it desecration. The military says it's a matter of national security. Our Chelsea Davis has both sides from Pukalani.
There will be 2 public hearings this week on Maui. The first is Tuesday night at Kihei Community Center. The second one is Wednesday night here at Mayor Hannibal Tovares Community Center in Pukalani. Both hearings start at 6:30 p.m.
The Department of the Air Force wants to build up to 7 telescopes atop Haleakala. They say it's necessary because of the growing threats in space that pose risks to national security. But those who consider the mountain sacred say Haleakala has endured enough desecration.
Haleakalā is a sacred space for not only Hawaiians, but our wider community too. People all across the world. It's such a treasure deserving of the highest protections.
The draft environmental impact statement says the proposed facility would be sited on a previously disturbed less than 1 acre site. Graphs show the telescopes smaller than existing telescopes, but protectors of the mauna say construction could kill endangered species like the ahinahina or Hawaiian silversword and the ua'u, the Hawaiian petrel, which burrows in the ground to nest up there.
We're standing for the protection of our summit spaces, of the top of Haleakalā, the piko of our mauna. We're standing for the protection of endangered species like ahinahina and ua'u because they are kupuna to us.
A spokesperson for the U.S. Space Force said communication with the community is a top priority, and the Amos Star project team respects concerns for potential environmental impact as well as the cultural and spiritual significance of Haleakalā and are committed to continued engagement with the community and minimizing impacts. But protectors of Haleakalā say they have to do better.
We see absolutely no evidence of any kind of meaningful engagement with Native Hawaiians or Native Hawaiian organizations.
They're calling on their community to make their voices heard at the upcoming hearings.
To read the entire draft environmental impact statement, we have a link on HawaiiNewsNow.com. Reporting in Pukalani, I'm Chelsea Davis for Hawaii News Now.